Okay, we've got more crisis in the United States from illegal immigrants. We've got fentanyl affecting thousands of families around the country. I have a Border Patrol whistleblower who has sadly been relieved of duty for calling out the American government. Zach Apotheker, thank you so much for joining me today.
Stephen, it's an honor to be here. Thank you for spreading awareness and telling my story.
So I saw you at America Fest. You were brought out by independent journalist James O'Keefe. He's been doing a lot of work at the border, building this documentary about the children trafficking, the illegal immigrants, the Bidens, how they have basically betrayed our country. So help my audience understand just quickly before we get into your story. What is going on at the border that bothered you so much that you were willing to put your career on the line and whistleblow and let people know this is not right?
Well, Stephen, I wish it was just one issue, right? I wish it was just one thing that was going on that really spurred it, but it's actually, unfortunately, more than one issue. So you have state-sanctioned child trafficking. You have little children, unaccompanied minors, coming in from different countries. We're not taking any biometrical data. We're not taking their DNA. We're not taking their fingerprints. We're not taking a picture of them. And we're handing them off to sponsors in the United States in numbers of more than 5, 10, 15 children to the same sponsor. And HHS had whistleblowers that came forward and said, or a whistleblower that came forward, Tara wrote us, and she said, we're not even doing background checks on these people. So if you imagine in America, if you want to adopt a child, they're going to do a background check. They're going to go to your home. They're going to see if you have a criminal history. They weren't doing that. They're handing these children off to sponsors that have been flagged internally for sexual abuse and continuing to give these children to the same sponsor. So that's the first thing. We're paying for all that as well, okay? Then on another aspect, I stood by for years and assisted people coming into the country who had no business being here, and we're paying for their transport into America. We're paying for them to get hotel rooms. We're paying for them to have flights. They're going on to commit crimes. And, you know, the child trafficking, and then all, you know, just the criminality that's going on as we see, you know, literally today. And also, we have no way to reference these people's background checks. So if they're coming from Venezuela or a lot of these countries, we don't know if they committed murder or rape in their home country. Also, the FBI coming forward and saying there's terrorists that we're letting into this country with that Border Patrol is apprehended and handed off. So it's just a myriad of absolute lunacy that was eating me up alive. And I saw a lot of other Border Patrol agents killing themselves. I'm not saying this had much to do with it, but for me, it was eating me alive. I couldn't... No job, even if it was $20 million a year, I would have not stood by and allowed myself to be a part of that without at least saying something to make a change. Yeah. And those are the reasons why.
Yeah, I mean, you took an oath, you took a job to defend the United States of America, to keep us here in the homeland safe, and then basically to be told to turn your eyes the other way, to process these people into the country faster so that they can get more taxpayer benefit, to hand these children off. I can see why that would eat you alive. I don't know if you saw this, Zach, but over the weekend, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, was asked, what about these 500,000 missing children? He said, you know, I don't know a lot about that. I mean, yeah, we know where a lot of them are. We know that they're being trafficked, but that's not my job to do anything about it. What are your thoughts on him basically saying, I know where children are being violated and I'm doing nothing about it?
You know, it's funny when I hear you say that, because I wasn't aware. I didn't really watch it, because for me, a lot of the times I get so upset and frustrated. It'll ruin my day. And it'll affect I can't watch a lot of it, Stephen. I really can't. I wish I could watch more. I can only process so much. What you saying that actually reminds me, I had a conversation with Patrick Bet-David, and, you know, very successful man. And I told him, because I wanted advice, right? And he said, what's going on right now? A lot of men like you that are just, we're sick of being bullied. They're waking up giants in America of people that are sick and tired of being bullied. So when I hear Mayorkas say that, it's like, clearly he knows more than what he's letting on. This is a coordinated effort. And like anyone else, I do want to keep my job. Trump just got elected. He's coming in. I would love to keep my mouth closed. And, that'd be the smarter play. That'd be the political move for me because a new person's coming in. I might be able to get my job back. I spoke out before the election. It was apolitical. But, when I hear things like that, I have to stand up and say, this is so sick and deranged that, 500 people don't even understand what that number means. And I have friends in other aspects of law enforcement I've spoken to off the record. I'm talking high levels of law enforcement that started as Border Patrol agents. They go on to a big time other agencies and they watch these videos of children being abused in America. And the level of depravity, I would never even speak online. I'd be ashamed to speak it to you face to face, the things that they see. And this is propagating that. They need these children to do sexual acts with, to kill. I mean, a normal brain can't even comprehend the level of sickness, and they're using these children for that. I mean, what can you say about it other than just it rises such anger and like I get like an adrenaline rush of just of sickness in my body because these people are getting away with this, and I was on the border assisting it, and then I speak out, and they take my badge and gun away. I mean, where did I go wrong? And like, I'd rather be fired and homeless than ever assist that again. I'm never going back to that.
Yeah. Well, like you said, gratefully we have Trump coming in. You and I both just spent, a couple of days at America Fest. The president spoke, but also his new border czar, Tom Homan, spoke, and he said, the reason he gets up every morning is he remembers looking into the eyes of this 9-year-old girl who had been sexually violated twice coming across the border. He said her eyes were dead, like her soul had left her body. And he's like, I can't live with myself knowing that this stuff is going on. What are your thoughts on that? And then help my audience understand what made you want to become a Border Patrol agent.
Yeah, my thoughts on that are unfortunately, it's not unique. I mean, Tom Homan was a Border Patrol agent. This is more unique recently. A lot of the older patrol guys that I speak to that were in the patrol in the 70s and 80s, just different patrol, they'd see women rape, but they wouldn't see it on this level of children coming across unaccompanied because they didn't have the same policies. But I wish I could say Mr. Homan's story was unique. I mean, ask any of my buddies, especially on the southern border that I spend time with, they see these children. A 9-year-old girl or girl under any woman that's been raped, they're an anomaly. You're used to seeing people's faces. In law enforcement, your job is to judge things and see people, right? And use discretion. When you see a child that's been raped, they don't have to even tell you. You can see it on their face. I shook Mr. Homan's hand. I told him who I was. I asked to support him, and maybe if he could support me, and we'll see. I don't know. I hope that I leave it up to God, and I hope that I'm able to help the agency. I will say, regardless of whether I get my job back, I think we are in good hands. So just to take myself out of the equation, even if some reason I do get terminated, I'd much rather see these men in office and in power doing the work that they should be doing, because it's not a political thing, right? I mean, we have a country. We just want to protect the borders. I mean, I don't see how that becomes a left-leaning or right-leaning thing. Children being raped has nothing to do with politics.
Yeah. Why did you become a Border Patrol agent?
I'm from Massachusetts. Both my brothers died of fentanyl overdoses. They were my older brothers. I didn't want to follow in their footsteps. They were great men. They loved this country. My brother played minor league baseball for the Florida Marlins. He came home and he had an injury and started taking pain pills. Next thing you know, he's on drugs and he dies of an overdose. My other brother, he liked to party and just got into the drugs pretty heavily. And I saw, really where the drugs are coming from. And I said, I'm not going to be able to go after these drug dealers on the street. I want to go after them right now. I'm not in law enforcement. I want to go get them right now. These guys sold my brother. Granted, my brothers took their own choice, but I basically didn't want anyone. The third youngest brother. That's all I have is 2 older brothers. I didn't want another kid in my position to ever have to witness their parents burying their only 2 older siblings. I mean, it's nothing I would wish on anyone. It's a horrible thing. Obviously they did it to themselves in a way, but if I could stop shipments of drugs coming across, that's what I wanted to do. It would give me a sense of, purpose. And obviously, when we're letting people in and we're assisting and coming in, and we have 100% of our agents helping people get into the country to commit crimes, to rape children, all these things, the drugs are flowing like there's no tomorrow on the other side of the desert. And we have no way to stop that, right? So another reason I spoke out is because I felt like my brothers would be turning in their graves, quite honestly, if they knew what I was doing. That's not the man that they would want me to be. It's not the man that my mother and father raised.
Yeah. I think it's so noble, and I'm sorry for the pain that your family has been through. It's estimated that almost as many people have died of fentanyl poisoning under Joe Biden as Americans died in World War II. I mean, just hundreds of thousands of people. We have a family friend, 2 teenage boys. They have a sleepover. They tried this pill that someone gave them in the junior high bathroom, and it has fentanyl on it. They're dead. Boom. I mean, like, it's such a horrible problem. What are your thoughts on Tom Homan and President Trump wanting to go after China for building the precursors of the material that goes into fentanyl and then labeling the cartel as a terrorist organization so that they have authority to shut this stuff down?
Well, just to go back on your last one, I have a good friend named Johnny Hickey. He's a filmmaker, and he's making a movie called Pressed right now about that, about children taking pills. I think it speaks to a bigger cultural aspect. A lot of our hope, especially the youth. I'm 32. I work out in the gym, right? I come across these kids 15, 16. A lot of the youth, they see the struggle of the everyday American. They don't have that same vigor that I was able to have growing up. And even my father said, when I was growing up, it was a lot easier. So these kids, they're almost... They want them to be depressed. They want them not to have hope. Hopefully they're able to turn to God. I would hate to push that. I'm not going to push it. I would, kind of show them the way, and they can find a higher power of hope, because what they want to do is take our hope away so they can control us. As far as China and, the cartels in Mexico, I'll say this. We've been basically getting some verse from the inside. Our government has not looked after the people. I think America needs to go on the offensive, and I think we need to start attacking our problems proactively, because the last 4 years, all we've done is just beaten to a pulp. So Mr. Holman, Mr. Trump, much smarter men than me, way more experienced. I would say this: aggression right now for America is good. I'm tired of sitting back and watching our country get destroyed. Let's go be proactive and save our country. If it's a 50-50, just go for it, because I know the American people have a hunger right now to save the country, whatever's left of it, if we're even able to, because right now our country's in pieces and in remnants. We're not the same country we were. We're much worse off. I mean, I think that's not even a controversial statement. I mean, we've been destroyed. So go on the offensive and do whatever it takes to get our country back. Too many people have died. Like you said, World War II, a lot of men died. We lost a lot of good men in these wars. Why let their death go in vain? Why not go on the proactive and do what needs to be done? That's what I would say. But I don't know exactly what that looks like, because you're just talking to a simple border guard, right? I'm just in the desert running around tackling people, essentially. I don't have the foresight or the knowledge to really say what to do, but I'd say be aggressive. That's what the average American, I would say, wants.
What's the energy among your Border Patrol colleagues when Trump won? Did it feel like hope came back? Like, hey, we're going to actually be able to do our job and protect the country? What's the feeling there now?
Genius question, Stephen. Genius question. All right, so I speak out before the election, right? I wanted to do so before the election because I didn't want to be a Johnny come lately. Speak out before the election. I start getting attacked left and right from the administration. This isn't about me. I'm gonna get to it. But Trump wins. Now I start getting treated a little bit better. I'm going to be honest. A lot of the investors, because now who wants to really be the guy that got in trouble that spoke out against this? I'm in a small area, but I have hundreds of friends in the Border Patrol. They have hope again. They're very happy. But I'll give you an analogy. We've been stomped on and treated so poorly for so long. It's almost hard to have hope again. It really is almost hard, because it's like finding out Santa Claus isn't real. It's just hard to really, even though we're going to do the right thing and guys are excited, we're still, I feel like we're still recovering from the last 4 years, just how bad it was. And we're and a lot of guys are apprehensive to say, oh, we're going to go out there, we're going to attack this, we're going to get all these people off the streets. We know that it's not going to continue, but we want to see what's really going to be done. But obviously the mood is much, much, much better. I don't know a Border Patrol agent that doesn't trust President Trump, but it's still, we still have a bad taste in our mouth, man. I mean, this was no joke. This was horrible. Every day, seeing hundreds of people getting flights out and landing in the middle of the night and just brazenly getting benefits, thousands of dollars, food stamps, cell phones, hotel rooms, just sick. Like, so it's hard for the average agent that's seen this the last 4 years. It's hard to get them excited again. They are, but it's hard to really get that same energy like when you first joined.
Yeah. Okay. No, I can imagine. It's like, yeah, there's hope on the horizon, but you've been beat down for so long, and hopefully that can come back. What has there been any talk among family or friends or Border Patrol colleagues of these illegals that come in, and some of them are getting more benefits than you working full-time on the border? They're getting better benefits than our military veterans. They're getting better taken care of than our seniors, our moms and dads that have, worked their entire life to raise families, contribute to the United States country, tax base, all of that. And then people that are here for 5 minutes are getting financially better benefits than American citizens.
The average agent really knows the power of the United States government, and it's so powerful, they're just scared, man. Like, they can crush you, right? So everyone just stays quiet, they get their little pay, and they do what needs to be done, they try to forget about it. Because to make sense of it, you have to do mental gymnastics. I mean, yeah, what is there? You can't even put into words the level of depravity that's been going on. I mean, yeah. If you want I would recommend, over the last 4 years, I would say if you want a better life as an American, denounce your citizenship, fly into Mexico, and claim to be an illegal alien. You'll be better. No, seriously though, you'd live a better life than most Americans. You would, just as a single guy. I mean, who else has to live in I mean, I don't really want to live in downtown New York City, but if you want to live in downtown New York City, eat for free, not have to have a job, have a free cell phone, it's not a bad life. Or you can work and feel embarrassed that you're assisting this. So, you can't make sense of it. I mean, I would ask you, how would you feel?
I feel terrible about it. It's why I shine a light on it as often as possible. I see people in my comments section that are like, wait a minute, these people are getting more money in food stamps than I get, working a job. They're getting, $700 a night for a hotel at the Roosevelt in downtown New York. You times that out by 30, $21,000 a month in housing. And we got senior citizens getting $1,200 a month in Social Security. Like, come on, man. Like, what an insult to our grandparents, those that fought for our country. Joe Biden is just the absolute worst.
Imagine how I feel being investigated. And I'm sitting with two investigators across from me that could arrest me and put me in jail for simply speaking the truth. And I was trying to be respectful to them. And I feel like they understood where I was coming from, and they were just doing a job. And that was the point of the movie that I was in. That I didn't tell James to make the point of the O'Keefe. I didn't say, James, like, this should be the point of your movie. But he does this whole border thing. He goes from A to Z. I show him a lot of the NGOs. It's all public source information. I didn't give away any secrets or anything like that. And he names the movie Line and Sing because there's a line in every man's heart. Do you just do your job, or do you speak out knowing you could be destroyed? I mean, and then I go on with Myron Gaines on a Fresh and Fit podcast in uniform, get over 100,000 views. I mean, similar to your channel, very popular, very successful. And a lot of Border Patrol agents, we forget that the American public, they didn't know a lot of this was going on. So I kind of get into the intricacies of, we're bringing people in, we're giving them a notice to appear that's 6 years in the future. They're not showing up and they're still not being removed. People can't comprehend that. They're like, what does any of this mean? And I think a lot of it is to confuse people. So the average American, you might work as a city employee. You might work at the YMCA. You might work at a diner. You're just going to work every day, coming home and barely making it to survive. And they just want you just with your head down, just barely trying to survive. But if you start looking around and we all start going, wait, what's really going on here? You know that there's foul play happening.
Yeah.
And then when you don't know what's going on around you, you can't even foresee how bad it's going to be in the future because your head's down. So you don't even know what's in front of you, what's going to happen in 10 years. You know, you look at other countries like England, destroyed. Then also they were trying to there was talk about free speech being taken away with hate speech. So now you can't even talk about these things, or it's racist or xenophobic. I mean, it's not racist. I'm white. There's people coming in from Europe that are, Irish travelers. They're taking, they're taking advantage of the system. So it's not a race thing. It's not a religion thing. I'm a Christian. I love all people. But, if I had a fellow Christian show up at the border, I don't want to let him in. I go, stay in your own country. Like, I'm not saying we need to shut the borders. And I think, and this is a controversial thing. We're so backed up. I think we should shut the borders down. I don't think there should be any legal immigration. President Trump says we want people here that can help us. I'll defer to him, whatever. But I'm saying, like, why are we helping everyone else but ourselves? It doesn't make sense to me. I just don't understand it. If you have a wife and kids, you're going to take money out of their pocket and give it to somebody else so they can eat while your kids go hungry? Especially if your kids have lived their entire life to help you. I mean, I don't care about myself, whatever. I'll always make it work. But we got veterans out there. They're disabled from the war, man. They don't have limbs. They don't have their mental abilities are messed up because they saw horrible things. They signed up willingly, and we're just going to throw them to the side and help some guy that hates this country that's going to go on to commit crimes. We're going to give him the money over this guy that deserves it more than anybody else. I mean, it's just so upsetting. It makes you want to punch a window. It makes you want to take my fist and throw it through. Like I can only take so much, and that's why I have to defer to God, because with just relying on my own sensibilities, I get so upset and so angry. It ruins every second of the day for me. And then we have politicians that pretend to care, but do they really even care? I hope they do, Stephen. I hope they do. But for the ones that don't, they need to be voted out and removed immediately.
Yes. Amen. Amen. What are your thoughts on this story about this illegal immigrant lighting a woman on fire in the New York subway, burning her to death while people just stood around? This must have been a horrifying scene.
Well, Daniel Penny, right? Marine. He saves a subway car full of people. The police pull him in, pretend to just question him. They just want to get the story, right? And I'm in law enforcement, so I try to back the blue. I mean, they pull him in. We just want to get your side of the story. From second of day one, like if I had children, right? I plan to have a family. I would tell my kids, you can't talk to these guys. If you stand up and do anything, they're going to try to bury you. Why? It's a shame. Penny's a Marine veteran. There was a Marine sitting across the table from him. He's like, just tell me what happened. They try to use it against him. Okay? And then they put this man's life in jeopardy. He's going away for the rest of his life. God forbid he goes to jail. The whole jail is going to be brainwashed against the kid. Try to kill him. So he stands up, gets destroyed. So for the bystanders, do I really blame them? I mean, I would have done it, but I'm a different type of cat. I'm not like tough or heroic or anything. I'm just saying, like, at this point, I kind of throw caution to the wind. I'm just going to do what I believe is right, regardless of consequence. But for the average person, I don't really blame them for standing by. I mean, they'll probably get destroyed if they do anything heroic. Just look at Daniel Penny. Where my problem comes in is these police officers walking by. So you want to have a badge, you want to have a gun, you want to have the benefits, you want to be a cool guy, Mr. Police Officer, man of the community. But you see this woman getting burned alive, you just walk by? I mean, I don't know. It's and then obviously it's an illegal alien who does it to an American citizen. And when I first came out, there was this man named J.J. Carroll. You should have him on your show. He was like a much higher position in the Border Patrol than me. He retired, and when me and him had a conversation, he said, Zach, history is going to be very kind to you, unfortunately. Like, you're going to be proven right. Because I was warning people. I said this, and it's not the end. We're going to have terrorism. There could be terrorism, more rapes, more murders, more robberies from illegal people that we let in. He said it's going to be kind to you. So I'm not surprised, and it's probably only going to get worse. And for those police officers that just stood by and watched, I'm not saying they could have saved their lives, but your job is to try. You took an oath to die. Like what you mentioned an oath earlier. I took an oath to the Constitution, right? And that's all fine and good, but I took that oath under God to the Constitution. That means something to me. So you took an oath that you were willing to put your life on the line to save others. That's why you're getting paid the salary you get, and you can't even attempt to do anything. Attempt and fail. That's more noble than not attempting at all. But then again, they try to intervene, and then somebody gets hurt. Now, next thing you know, Alvin Bragg or whoever it is, putting him on trial. They're looking at, so the whole thing is just meant to confuse us. The devil wants to confuse you. The devil wants to make it so you don't know which way to go. I use God. I don't know what other people can use, but you at this point, you just got to do what you feel is right in your heart, man, because otherwise we're doomed.
Yeah. Well, again, I mean, I know Trump has an uphill battle. I know the men and women that you work with, it's going to be an uphill battle, but at least they're going to be given permission and authority to do the job that they signed up to do. So for that, I'm hopeful and optimistic. Zach, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing your story. If people want to follow you online, where can I point them towards?
Yeah, just Zachary Apotheker on X. I'm in limbo. I don't know if I want to go into media. I don't know. I would like my job back. I didn't sign up to be a broadcaster. I would just like to go back to my job, never be heard from again. But if not, I ask that they support me by just listening to me and following. They don't even have to listen to me. Just follow what happens to me, because if you really give my story a fair look, you'll understand I did nothing wrong. My only crime was standing up for America under the wrong leadership. So thank you, Stephen. I just want to thank you publicly for like helping me out and just spreading awareness to the border, my story, and for this country. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again for coming on. I hope you have a great Christmas week, you and your family, and thank you for your service to our country.
Merry Christmas.